Contra, Castlevania, Ghosts and Goblins, DuckTales, Mega Man, Bible Adventures, crap, that one was from my, personal guilty pleasure, so, what, don't judge. So, yeah, let's just forget that I mentioned Bible Adventures and, move on. Anywho, when thinking of these games, we refer to them as, your response must be in the form of a question. And go! And time is up. I could hear your answer, by the way. I was right behind you that whole time. Lindsay and Jeremy, I wasn't expecting much from you, but Dave, for shame. I had high expectations from you. And with that, I just pissed off the entirety of my view base. Oh, right, the answer. The answer. The answer I was looking for was, what are classics, Alex? They are oftentimes referred to as classics, but why? What makes a classic game coveted by most gamers? Because the other thing they all have in common is the ridiculously high difficulty. Name a game from the NES era that's known as a classic, and the first thing that comes to mind when talking about them is how hard the game was overall. You have never heard a gamer say, "Oh man, I love Ninja Gaiden. That game's a classic. It was so easy." Unless you're talking to a casual gamer posing as a hardcore gamer, at which point you should be able to hear the torches, pitchforks, and self-righteous attitudes approaching. Take Ghosts and Goblins, for example. You have only 2 hits for the entirety of the game. You start off with armor, but if you get hit, you lose your armor and run around in boxers. You get hit again and you're dead. And if you actually manage to make it through the game, with the game doing everything in its power to try and kill you, you get a lame game over screen that tells you to take it on again, but it'll be even harder than before. This insanely hard game is heralded as a classic. So then why is the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for the NES so hated for being everything a classic game is loved for? That's right, people. This is my review for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for the NES. Cue intro! Okay, first off, let me tackle 2 things that most people have the biggest problems with right away. First thing is the dam level. The dam level, as I've shown in a previous video, is not as hard as you might think. All it requires is trial, error, and memorization. And in case you're not aware, that's pretty much the name of the game with most NES classics. You memorize spawn points and try different things until something sticks. If you don't look at some of the seaweed patterns and say, "It's impossible," and give up, you'll be surprised that it's actually doable. The second thing is just a huge misunderstanding. Most people don't understand that this game is actually based off the original comics by Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird. Of course, back in the day, cover art wasn't exactly an accurate portrayal of the game you're about to play, but if you look at the cover art for the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game, you can see it definitely resembles the comic. But not only that, the character design in-game is based off the comics too. The Turtles, Splinter, Shredder. This game was a game based on the comics, not the cartoon. There's a good chance that the Turtles phenomenon didn't hit Japan during the game's conception, and the only source material that was available to them, before internet mind you, was Eastman and Laird's work. With that in mind, it makes sense that they'd have to take some creative liberty with designing levels and enemy characters. Now, on to the review. Gameplay is a standard side-scroller. Controls are extremely tight and responsive, and you have a lot of freedom with your jumps. You can do a half jump, or you can do a massive high jump, where your turtle of choice will perform a somersault in midair, allowing you to dodge attacks and projectiles with ease. They can jump so high, it's almost as if they're being poked in the face with a stick. Your health is gauged by the 8 red squares at the bottom of the screen, and damage is dealt in a variety of strengths, depending on the enemy and the power of the attack, ranging from taking half a square to 2 full squares. You can replenish your health by picking up different sizes of pizza. A slice replenishes a quarter of health, a half a pizza restores half life, and likewise a full pizza restores full health. Along with health pickups, there are weapon power-ups that allow each turtle to have a ranged attack. Sometimes you find them lying about and sometimes enemies can drop them, but the most useful is the boomerang, which the name implies it returns when you throw it, but you have to make contact with it to catch it, essentially giving you an infinite amount of uses. These can give the less useful turtles an edge. Awesome thing about this game is that you can switch between the turtles at the push of a start button. You could give Raph and Mikey boomerangs and have them tackle boss fights. Or, if you're about to take damage, you could quickly switch to your least favorite turtle and let them take the fall. Once you're back out of harm's way, switch back to the turtle you like the most. If a turtle dies, all you need to do is rescue them from one of the numerous buildings, and you'll have your comrade back. This opens up a lot of various strategies. You can essentially give each turtle a job to do, and immediately switch between them to execute your personal playstyle. Personally, I try to give each turtle boomerangs except Raph. He gets the ninja scrolls and takes on most bosses. He's also my tank and takes most of the damage because I really don't like Raph. And by die, I mean transform back into regular turtles, and then you rescue them as mutant turtles again? Hey man, classic games didn't always make sense either. The story, well, we never really played classic games for the story. Even the original Final Fantasy was pretty hokey of a story. Evil Emperor tries to take over the world, you stop him, the end, roll credits! In Turtles, Shredder kidnaps April, so you venture forth to rescue her. After you do, you return to your lair to find Shredder has kidnapped Splinter. You rescue Splinter, go to the Technodrome for the final showdown. They must have been using Time Lord technology in Dimension X because the Technodrome is way bigger on the inside than the outside. But anyways, you beat Shredder, Splinter returns to human form, roll credits. Apparently, beating Shredder was the prerequisite for Splinter resuming human form. I don't know. So, let's take a moment to talk about the music. I feel the music of this game was unjustifiably overlooked. This game has some of the best music in the NES library. You hear the overworld music and you'll be whistling it all day. Or, how about some of those sewer tracks? catchy, am I right? Or, oh my gosh, the groove of the nighttime theme. So good. And then there is my absolute favorite from this game, the cavern music. So I guess what I'm saying is the music from this game is way underrated. And if you haven't heard it or played this game, look it up. It is amazeballs. Enemy spawns were probably the biggest issue with this game. Sometimes enemies spawn so frequently, it can make easy parts a bit hectic. If you had an enemy on screen, move back a bit, then move forward, another one would spawn while you were still fighting the first spawn. However, this works in reverse too. If you have an enemy on screen, if you move the screen to cut the enemy off screen, it would disappear. So I feel this point is negated. You know, I'm not really sure if this video could be classified as a review per se. It's probably more like a counterpoint to all the reviews already out there for this game, which I've noticed all lean towards negative. And I don't understand why this game is so hated because of one level, when it has all the makings of a classic game otherwise. Just because the reviewers aren't skilled or patient enough to get past the damn level doesn't mean that makes this a terrible game. So I feel this video needed to be made. It's not a bad game. In fact, if you asked me to list classic NES games, this would be amongst the games I list. And I hope that after watching this video, if you haven't given it a try because of the stigma it's received, you'll go and try it for yourself. And learn for yourself that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for the NES is a classic NES game as well. I am incredibly sorry it took so long to make this review. I took a slight hiatus to deal with some personal issues, but now that they're out of the way, I'm back and better than ever. I now have a PS4 to broaden my options for games to stream and review, so there'll be plenty of PS4 content in the future. I'm hoping I'll have a Resident Evil Remake stream in the future. Make sure to follow me on Twitch for live, sometimes planned, sometimes random streams. For updates and news, make sure to stop by my Facebook and give a like. Speaking of likes, you should totally give this video a like. And if you want to be the first to see my new videos, make sure to subscribe. You can also catch me playing with my Twitter every now and then. Links are in the description below. If this is your first time watching one of my videos, make sure to check out my other videos, including my previous streams of Amnesia, my review of the Bucky O'Hare arcade game, and some of my past live performances. If you have an idea for a retro game you feel has been forgotten or overlooked, and you want me to review it, let me know in the comments. If I agree with you, and I can get a hold of it, I might just review it for you. Until next time.